All right, thanks for joining in today on Dusty DIY. Today we're actually going to be building a couple of new screens. Here's an old screen that got beat out of a window, and we're going to build a new one. So hopefully it will turn out to look something like this when we're done. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the materials. Thanks for joining in. All right, here's some of the tools and parts you need to build a screen. You will need some screen corners. They're plastic corners. They'll look like this. We're building a couple screens. This one has a puller built in. That's so that you can pull the screen into place. Some of the corners have those. So you usually have two pullers on one screen and two corners. All right. These are springs that help keep the spring in place. This is the fiberglass mesh that we're going to screen the screen with, some new mesh. And then right here I have this is a 5/16 thickness. They make a few different sizes, 3/8, 5/16 are common sizes, and different colors for your screen. This is screen bar. So I went to our local window dealer, bought the screen bar. I actually picked up the mesh from the hardware store. And then I'm going to reuse the parts off of this old bent screen. I'm going to go ahead and pull the corners and the springs out to reuse them. I'm going to make a couple of these screens. And then you're going to need a little bit of screen spline. It's the spline that goes in the groove of the screen bar. Okay? So some of this stuff you can get at the hardware store. I'm sure you could get all of it at your local window dealer. But it's a little bit cheaper to make them than to buy them. They're kind of expensive these days. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this screen spline out of this screen. We're going to reuse this one. And I'm going to pull the parts off this screen. I'm actually going to use them. I am not going to reuse the bars. We'll probably throw those in the metal salvage. And the fiberglass screen is no good. Okay, we are basically building a screen this exact size, and so we're going to measure this screen, and it is 22.5. Now, these corners, for each corner you put on, you subtract off 3/4 off your bar. So, for example, you have a corner on one side, a corner on the other side, you're going to subtract off 1.5 inches. So over our overall measurement of what our screen needs to be, 22.5, we're going to subtract off 1.5 inches, and that's what we cut the end bar to be. So we need to cut our bar at 21. So if I added 1.5 inches on that, that would be the overall. Same thing on the length, 46.25. We're going to cut that at 44 3/4 on our bar length. We're going to go ahead and cut those bars. On some of these corners are inch. If you notice, this square right here is 1 inch, and that's how much you got to subtract off each side. A couple of the corners are 3/4. So you got to know how much your corner is going to add to the overall length of the screen. If it's 3/4, you got to add 3/4 to the side and 3/4 to the other side. If it's inch, you got to add 1 inch to one side and 1 inch to the other side. So you got to calculate that to when your bar slides on. You got to know the width of your bars. A little bit of math. Okay, once you get your bar length cuts figured out, I would suggest writing them down on a piece of paper. Then you're going to measure these bars out, and you're going to carefully cut them to size using, I usually use a really nice chop saw. With the finer tooth blades help a little bit better, but you can do it with any good saw. Just go really slow while you're cutting. If you go fast, you're going to mess the bar up, but just go really slow with your cut. All right, once you get your aluminum bars cut, next thing you do is you're going to slide your corners in. I'm going to put the ones with the pull tabs on one side so you have a place to grab onto the screen. And Slide the other ones on the other side. Basically, snap them together. And if you have a spring, you got to put it on one side. And they slide in the screen. Sometimes you don't have springs. Depends on the screen, I guess. All right, now we've constructed the frame of the screen. We're gonna go ahead and just double check the measurement, make sure it's the correct size. All right, now that we got our frame assembled and confirmed size is correct, we're gonna go ahead and put the fiberglass screen in there, material. What you're going to need is a razor knife, and some kind of a screen roller. It's just a cheap one from the hardware store. Got a roll of mesh here. I'm gonna I lay my screen on a soft surface so I'm not scratching it. I'm gonna lay the fiberglass out a little bit bigger than the screen, and then basically I'm going to take the spline and I'm going to take the spline and I'm going to lay it in the channel and take my roller and lay it down in the groove. All right. Now you don't want to pull real hard on your spline, otherwise you're going to stretch your screen. You do want to get them tight, but you don't want to get them too tight that you're pulling the bars inward. Sometimes it takes a little bit of finagling to figure that out. Once I get to the corner, I'm going to go ahead and turn my spline. And just keep on going. If you get a wrinkle or something, you can go ahead and loosen it, pull it back, lay it in. Just going to go ahead and get rid of the rest of this fiberglass mesh out of the way so I can rotate my screen. Lay it out flat. Go ahead and turn the corner here. Lay it down. Now if you need the screen tighter, go ahead and pull on this screen spline a little as you lay it. If you need it looser, you might want to put your hand on the fiberglass mesh. It looks to me like so far mine's kind of loose. So I might pull it a little. All right, I like to look down my bar as I'm going, make sure it's still nice and straight. And that one's slightly bowed, so I can pull it a little bit tighter. So I may do that. I may pull this out a little And I may push my screen in, pull my a little bit tighter, and redo this side. All right, that looks a lot better. It's not bowed down the edge. Just gonna go ahead and get this last edge. So go ahead and cut off this little bit of excess green spline. And then I'm either going to use a screwdriver or something. Go ahead and make sure my corners are pushed down. Okay, once I got my corners pressed down, I just want to carefully trim the edge of the screen, the excess off the edge of the screen with a razor knife. Got to be careful not to cut your new screen. Just trim around the edge very carefully. All right, there you have it. We built a brand new screen for the window out of new materials and some used materials on this one, but you could easily build it out of all new materials. Basically got a couple new screens to go in the windows that need them. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. I got lots of different videos coming your way. Have a nice day.